Hey everyone, what's going on? I had no plans on making a video today, but I just got on the computer about an hour ago, and one of the big stories on CNN was about this 8.0 earthquake in southern Mexico. Now it's updated to an 8.1 magnitude. But the reason that's so significant and the reason I'm making this video is because literally 2 days ago, I even documented I made a video in regards to how I got online, and the first video I watched was Zachary K. Hubbard's video about this red waxing gibbous moon in Seattle. And then the TV said moon at the exact same time that he said moon when I was watching this video. And in this post, I even mentioned how I wrote, with all the hurricane fire stuff, are we going to get an earthquake soon? Because earthquake equals 44 and 107. And this moon, there was a full moon on September 6th, and it was called a corn moon. And in Gematria, if you write out corn moon equals 44 and 107, which is identical to the word earthquake, 44 and 107. And I remember last year, the big special moon was the closest supermoon since the year 1948. And if you recall, we got a 7.8 earthquake in New Zealand the same day of that supermoon. And if you write out supermoon in reverse gematria, supermoon equals 44 and 107, just, the opposite of earthquake. So it's just interesting that these moons have synced up to earthquakes, just this one didn't come on the exact day of the corn moon, but it came one day after the corn moon. And I also went on to mention in this post all of the stuff in regards to earthquakes. The study of earthquakes, if you look it up, supposedly goes back to the year 585 BC. And it was this guy, Thales of Miletus, however you pronounce that, but the study goes back to 585, a lot like 58 and 85, right? The reflections. If you write out Thales of Miletus, his name equals 85 in reverse gematria. And before I get any farther, if you don't know what I'm talking about in regards to these numbers, I'll leave a link in the description. I explain, what gematria is. It's the practice of coding numbers into words, and our media is coded this way. Everything in, life events such as earthquakes are synced up this way. Our sports leagues are coded this way. So check out the link in the description. It's a 15-minute video. You can practice it for yourself and, see the same thing that I am talking about. Anyway, the study of earthquakes goes back to 585 BC, and it was by this guy who equals 85. Charles Richter, he died at the age of 85 in 1985. If you read out the big one, it equals 85. Seismology equals 58, the reflection of 85. Seismograph equals 58. Richter scale equals 58. And I've been documenting for a long time about a possible East Coast earthquake in the Philadelphia area. There's just been lots of stuff that seems synced up to it. The movie Happy Gilmore, in the 107th minute of the movie, he learns how to putt on the earthquake golf course, the putt-putt golf course, and the building that falls over has the black cube on it, and it looks a lot like the Comcast Center, the 58-story Comcast Center in Philadelphia and whatnot. And anyway, in regards to researching all of that, I found in regards to earthquakes east of the Rocky Mountains, the last biggest earthquake was a 5.8 in Mineral, Virginia in 2011. The one before that was a 5.8 in Cornwall, Messina in the year 44. Remember, earthquake equals 44? And the one before that was in Charleston, and it was exactly 58 years, 5 days before the Cornwall, Messina one. So just all of this 58, 85 coding. Now we're getting a story Comcast Center even equals 58 in Gematria. But now we're getting a story in regards to an earthquake in Mexico. And what's significant about this is that they're telling us that this earthquake, I didn't even finish my blog post here, but they're telling us it's the strongest earthquake since 1985 off the Mexican coast, right? 1985, remember 85, a number that is, I just documented it 2 days ago again in regards to earthquakes and how it's a big number synced up to them. Even the CNN article, they even mention about a video of the Angel of Independence statue shaking. Angel of Independence equals 85 in Gematria. And when I looked up the Angel of Independence statue, interesting, it's just days short of the 107th anniversary of the statue being built. Remember, earthquake equals 107. But look, it got knocked down, or parts of it fell over from an earthquake July 28th of 57, and then they put it back up in the year 58. And then it survived the devastating earthquake in 1985, right? So it's just how they do things, 58, 85. It's interesting, too, in regards to a lot of the angel stuff that I've mentioned a lot lately. What's even funnier is last year around the same time, I made a video in regards to how earthquakes are synced up to events in the media and everything else. And I even talked about this 5.1 earthquake that we got on, let me find it here. We got a 5.1 earthquake on Lupercalia last year in 2016. 5.1 earthquake, and the date numerology was 51, 2 plus 13 plus 20 plus 16, and it was in Oklahoma, and I even mentioned about the number 56 and whatnot, and I said the most powerful ever Oklahoma earthquake was in 2011, and it was a 5.6, and 5.1, 5.6 equal 10.7. Anyway, I made this video about Xavion Dobson, and for whatever the reason, I started talking about how earthquakes are synced up to things that are going on in the media, and Xavion equals 56, his brother's name equaled 56, a bunch of other stuff with 56 in that story. I'll leave a link to the video of that, but I posted that video, and it was probably like 2 in the morning, and then like 4 hours later, we got an earthquake, a 5.6 earthquake in Oklahoma that was synced up to Sam Bradford being traded to the Minnesota Vikings or whatever. Sam Bradford equals 56. That same day that he was traded, Oklahoma won the football game or whatever, and who did they play? They played Houston, I believe, and Houston, the total score, 33-23, equaled 56. Sam Bradford equaled 56. Same day we got a 5.6 Oklahoma earthquake. Hopefully I'm not losing you, but that was the same. I made a video hours before this earthquake happened, and then we got this earthquake in Oklahoma. And it was even more significant because I never felt it, but other people in the town that I live in Iowa felt it. It's the first time ever that I've heard of anyone in this area feeling an earthquake, in my whole life. I'm almost 35 years old. So it was interesting that I would make a story, bring up how earthquakes are synced up, and then it was synced up to what I was talking about. And I'll leave a link to my uh whatever it is, Sam Bradford video in the description as well. I'd go really in depth in that one. I talk about a lot of the 56 connections. I even bring up Philadelphia and the Declaration of Independence being signed by 56 signers. John Hancock, the first who died, or first to sign it, died at the age of 56. And the last guy to die who signed it was Charles Carroll III, who died 56 years after signing the Declaration of Independence. But anyway, let's look at this story. Let's just look through what I started posting in this blog. I wanted to wait to see if they were going to change it up to an 8.5 or something like that, you know. But the let's see here. They kept saying they say the earthquake had a depth of 33 kilometers. Well, the date that it happened was a date numerology of 33. 9 plus 7 plus 17 equals 33. Mexico equals 33 in Gematria. It happened in the Pacific Ocean as well. The biggest one since 1985. And then it happened in the Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean equals 58 and 85. The the Yahoo article, it says all the same stuff, but it mentions a whole different town than the CNN article. It mentions this PGA Japan, or however you say it. And what is it? The CNN one says Tres Picos, Mexico. But in the Yahoo article, if you write out Piaja, whatever, Mexico, it equals 97. This thing happened on 9/7. And it's interesting that they say 76 miles from the epicenter or whatever, or yeah, 76 miles away. The other town that CNN mentions equals 76 in Gematria. CNN also, even on the later article here, they tell us it is a prime location. And they highlight prime location for earthquakes. Prime location at Gematria equals 69, just like Mexico, the big way. And then they had finally changed it to an 8.1. And the meteorologist that was saying this was Karen McGinnis, who, of course, equals 81, reporting an 8.1 earthquake. So, just another earthquake coded by the numbers. Interesting. I mentioned how, possibly are we going to get an earthquake story soon? And it was all because of corn moon equaling that. And I remembered super moon when I re-looked it up had the connection in reverse gematria, and we got an earthquake the same day as the supermoon last year. Or actually, it was kind of a day before. It was a day before in America, but where it happened in New Zealand, it was just after midnight, I believe, and it was on the same day that we got the extra supermoon or whatever. The first one since the year 48. That was Prince Charles's birthday. Prince Charles was born in the year 48 or whatever. We'll just look at that one really quick. I know I had it pulled up here somewhere. It was a 7.8 in New Zealand, and extra supermoon is what it was called. Equals 78 in Gematria. Talked about King Charles. If Queen Elizabeth dies, Prince Charles will become King Charles. King Charles equals 107, just like earthquake and whatnot. We just had Donald Trump was elected, the biggest election upset since the year 1948. And he became the 44th person to become the president. Earthquake equals 44 the small way. The Indians had just lost in the World Series, and the last time that they won the World Series was in 1948. And Cleveland equaled 78, a 7.8 earthquake. There was a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to go through the whole post, I guess, but I've documented multiple earthquakes that are coded by the numbers and connected to other events. And I'll leave a link on my blog. You just go and type in earthquake in the search bar up here, and you'll see other earthquakes that I have mentioned and talked about. I've talked about some synced up to one in Taiwan that was synced up to Queen Elizabeth's, I can't even remember, her anniversary of being the queen. There's all kinds of just weird events like that and the way they sync up. So, have a good one. Peace.